Welcome to Voices of Impact, a show where dreams meet action and change makers unite. We are your co-hosts, Brad and Kathy Lambert of KBL Impact Partners. You can find us locally in your city on My Genre Radio FM, Monday through Fridays at 2 p.m. Central. Also, we are televised on Valuable Television Network at 4 p.m. Central and Urban Core Television at 3 p.m. Central. You can find all 100 plus stations on A2 Media under radio and television tabs.
We are so excited to be with you today. Our guest is Jackie Dace. Jackie is the Executive Director of St. Louis Artworks, overseeing the creation of numerous public art installations throughout the city. She previously served in various positions at the National Underground Railroad Freedom Center, National Blues Museum, Mississippi Civil Rights Museum in Jackson, curator of African American history at the Missouri Historical Society, and adjunct professor of Afro-American Studies at Washington University in St. Louis. Jackie is a recipient of the Hollywood Black Film Festival and Kansas City Film Festival Awards, as well as the National Art Strategies Fellowship. In 2023, Jackie received the Museum Leadership Award from the Association of African American Museums and the Distinguished Alumni Award from Webster University. She's also served on several committees for the Organization of American Historians, the National Council on Public History, the Oral History Association, and is a former board member of the Association of African American Museums. When we come back, we will be joined by Jackie Dace.
Welcome to Voices of Impact and our guest today, Jackie Dace. Jackie, thanks for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for this opportunity.
Well,
It's
we
so
are
great to have you.
so happy to have you. Let's start with St. Louis Artworks. Tell us about the organization and your mission, and what have you been doing?
Proud to say St. Louis Artworks is celebrating its 30th anniversary in
wow.
St.
30
Louis.
years.
Started in
Congratulations.
1995 and 2025 is our 30th anniversary.
Wow.
We are a youth art training program. We hire young people age 14 to 19 and we offer them art education, job training skills. We do life skills with them, bring in speakers. So we work year round. We are spring, summer, and fall. And they actually come in as apprentices. They work directly with teaching artists. And many people have probably seen the work of the creative artists around St. Louis and have no idea that it was created by youth in our program.
Yeah, we want to get into that because I know
Yes.
you've got some great corporate collaborations out there that display your art. When did you become executive director?
I started with St. Louis Artworks in March of 2021.
Okay.
Yes.
And then before that, so we were talking just a little bit before we got started, and your background is absolutely amazing. Will you share with us, how did you get into the museum world? And you're from St. Louis region, correct?
I am from the St. Louis region, born and raised, the sixth of six children.
So where are you in that line?
I'm six.
Oh, you're 6. You're the baby.
I'm the one that they got it right and they stopped having any more kids. Yes, I'm number 6.
Okay.
But yeah, so I started working at the Missouri History Museum in 1992 and I went there looking for work. I was the receptionist security officer. And I worked there for 16 years, left Missouri History Museum as a curator of African American collections. So I kind of had a progression. During that time, I also served
so
as...
were you interested in history before that, or?
I tell everybody, history, the way in which it was taught to me, it was not something that, stuck with me because I didn't see myself in it. And so when I started working at the Missouri History Museum, there was actually a magazine that they published, a scholarly magazine called Gateway Heritage. And the Gateway Heritage had never been indexed, but it focused on local history. And so I started working with one of the editors of publications, and we started editing and indexing the Gateway Heritage magazine. And so because I was bored as a receptionist because it was such a slow turn, but I read all these articles, I started learning about local history, it started making sense to me. And I decided that this was something I wanted to, focus on. And also I started doing projects that was, relevant to kids that looked like me and that had came from places like me, that I thought that they could begin to get more interest in history, and it made more sense. And so, I got promoted into the publications research, and then I went as associate researcher, and we started doing a project called Through the Eyes of a Child, Growing Up Black in St. Louis. And it was a focus on 4 African American neighborhoods: Kinloch, Carr Square, the south end of East St. Louis, and I'm missing one, the Ville. And the focus was from 1940s to 1980s, what was crucial and instrumental in fostering the development of children. And that project turned into a curriculum unit, an exhibit, a documentary,
My goodness.
and then a youth training program called In the Voice of a Child, where we train students in middle schools how to develop their own oral history project. And then they were partnered with media arts partners to develop video, exhibits, a book, radio and television program. And I got interested in history through that. And as a result, I actually served as adjunct professor at WashU, teaching St. Louis African American history before I left St. Louis. And I left going to Chicago at the DuSable Museum. So I've been in the museum field since 1992.
So within the field and the different places you've been, so one of them, the National Underground Railroad Freedom Center.
In Cincinnati, yes.
Yes, how amazing.
Before that, I was in, actually, I left St. Louis, went to Chicago for the DuSable Museum. I left Chicago, went to Mississippi, and we built the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum. So I was the project manager for the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum. That was a fascinating experience.
That had to be fascinating.
It truly was.
Oh my goodness.
It truly was. And then I came back to St. Louis, and we opened the National Blues Museum here in St. Louis in 2016.
Oh, so you were a part of that.
Yes, me. The executive director who was selected had been at the B.B. King Museum in Indianola, Mississippi when I was in Jackson, and that's where we met. And so we came back and we opened the National Blues Museum, and then we left and went to Cincinnati for the National Underground Railroad Freedom Center. And so, it's been an experience. I have had some opportunities that I think that I never thought I would have had. But that's also one of the reasons why I'm happy to be at St. Louis Artworks, because I love to give the youth in our area access and opportunities that they otherwise would not have had.
Right.
And
Well said.
Yes, and really, I think about how you started, and not even knowing about museums or history, and to see what you've done, and it's so inspiring, Jackie. And I think about our audience and people that are listening to you, that when you're starting out and you had your job as a receptionist and then went into security, but from there curating and everything that you've done and to where you are today is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it was. I learned to understand that I didn't know what I didn't know.
Right.
and that
Yeah.
there were other things that I could reach for. And so once I started, I acknowledge when I'm a novice. I acknowledge when I don't know information, and I go to those individuals that I think know more about it and help me train.
Sure.
So I remember sitting in the lounge at the Missouri History Museum and not being able to understand the terminology of museum work, you know?
Right.
And then once it started making sense to me, I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can
And
do
to
this.
later become the curator.
And to
Yeah.
later become a curator and administrator, you know. So it made sense. It's been an experience.
Well, you are such a blessing for the St. Louis community, and for you to come back and be at St. Louis Artworks, it's just, we're very honored to have you.
Well, thank you very much.
And excited to hear more about the work that you're doing there and for the youth here within our region.
And why would you say St. Louis Artworks is important to the city?
Oh my goodness. We serve 180 to 200 youth annually. We hire 180 to 200 youth annually. And for those youth to be given an opportunity to show and be creative and show who they are, and then they go out and they develop, you know, whether they're entrepreneur skills or their creative skills, and many of them don't even go into the arts, but it opens up their minds in whatever disciplines that they're going into.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, we are going to pause, and we will be right back. We are Voices of Impact. We will return with our guest Jackie Dace in just a moment.
Hey, nonprofit leaders, Brad and I know that your time is valuable, and so is the work that you do. That's why we've created mini courses for nonprofit organizations that get straight to the point.
That's right. Each of our mini courses takes 30 minutes or less and dives into topics like building your budget, creating a fund development plan, writing successful grant applications, and having meaningful donor conversations. Perfect for busy leaders who want real results fast.
So head over to kblimpactpartners.com to learn more.
Start making a bigger impact and raising more money today. Welcome back to Voices of Impact, and our guest today, Jackie Dace. Jackie, could you talk a little bit about the different programs that you offer and what you hope that the youth will come away with?
Sure. We work spring, summer, and fall. So the students come either after hours in the spring and fall, 4 to 6 o'clock, 6:30, or Saturdays 10 till 3. In the summer, it's 10 till 3, Monday through Friday.
You have a lot of late evenings at the office, don't
We
you?
have a lot of late evenings at the office, yes. But we have different art disciplines. So
Okay.
any type of art project you can imagine. We've done sculpture, we've done videography, photography, creative writing. We work with Word STL to offer creative writing program. Visual art, of course, mural making. But we create any type of art that you can imagine. And at one point we did dance and music. So oftentimes our programs are dictated by whether or not we have a commission or whether or not we have a grant to support that particular project.
Right.
Of course, we're a nonprofit, so we're always looking for funding sources. But the students are assigned to teaching artists. We have a 1 to 13 ratio. So if it's above 13, we have 2 teaching artists that are directly working with students.
And where do your teaching artists come from?
We have the best of the best artists in St. Louis.
All
Oh,
right.
I love that.
We have the best of the best artists in
Wow.
St. Louis.
The best of the best.
The best of the best. Some of them have been with us since 1996, since we started. I mean, these are
So they
some
obviously
amazing.
have a passion for what they're doing.
Yeah.
There's some amazing artists themselves. They really are the best. And some of the teaching artists actually that we have hired were former apprentices in the program. They
Oh, I love this.
Full
They
circle.
had the full circle. They have to have a degree. They have to be specialists in their particular area. And then they come back and they work directly with the students that are in the program.
Wow.
And, that's part of the program, but we also offer life skill training. So we bring
you
in
do?
speakers. Yes.
Okay.
We bring in speakers to talk to the youth about financial literacy, health and wellness, job training, entrepreneurship, in the summer. The Friday of that week is all life skill training. So that's an entire day of life skill training. So they have to have a bank account when they're part of the program because they do receive a stipend. They are hired. It's a job training program as well.
I love
It's
this.
a job
How,
training.
how long is the program last?
Yeah.
In the fall, it's 13 weeks.
Okay.
Fall and spring, it's 13 weeks, and it's 25 hours a week. In the summer, it's 25 hours a week, and it's 6 weeks in the summer.
And then how many youth do you have in the program?
Well, in the fall and spring, we can have anywhere from 45 to 55 students. In the summer, we have as many as 89 to 90 students.
You're kidding.
No,
Now,
it's
are they all
amazing.
paid too?
They're all paid.
They're all paid?
All paid, all
Oh,
paid.
my goodness.
Yes, that's part of the project. That's part of the process. They have to keep their time, so they check clock in, clock out. It's often
Just
a
like
very
a job.
I
first
mean,
job.
just like a job.
It's often the very first job. But one of the things that just gives me thrills, because it is from 14 to 19. Oftentimes these kids come back. So as long as they have, their record is good, they can come back and they can return. So we've had kids that have aged out of the program.
Yeah.
They've been with us for a couple of years. To see them grow, to see the growth, not only their growth in their artistic skills, but to see the growth in them is something that is truly amazing. To watch them, it's a safe space where these creatives can come together and find people that are like themselves, like them, and so you watch them making friends. You watch them begin to speak up. You watch their whole demeanor change. It's to hear about it and to see it in writing is one thing, but to experience it is something totally different.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do the youth find out about your organization and get connected?
We are what I call a small but mighty team. So myself and my assistant director are the only full-time staff members, but I have a part-time program manager that goes out, work with the teachers, goes talk to the students at the schools, but we also do many vendor events. So we spread the word as much as possible.
Yeah.
In addition to that, we also take advantage of social media. Again, we are
Right.
a small nonprofit, so I have to take advantage of as many marketing opportunities as possible to get the
Absolutely.
word out there. So they apply online, and the students apply online, and they come in for an interview. So they bring in their work, whether they have artwork, they bring in their work, and they're interviewed and selected as to whether or not they're going to be part of the program.
So they actually interview to be a part of the program, just like a regular job.
Just
you
like a
said,
regular
it's
job.
a job training
It's
program.
a job training program, exactly.
That's
Exactly.
amazing.
So Jackie, we know how important partnering and collaboration are in the nonprofit sector, and I'm sure you've got a number of partners that you work with. Who are some of those partners and how do they support you?
We worked with, as I mentioned, we work with Word STL, and they offer the teaching artists for the creative writing program. We work with different organizations that come in, the banks that Busey Bank, Commerce Bank, that come in and offer financial literacy.
Training.
We have financial literacy training. Kemper Museum often provide art tours, museum tours for
Really?
the youth. Yes. So we also work with the St. Louis Art Museum. They will often commission St. Louis artworks for the programs or to do creative projects, and they also help to cover some of the costs for the teaching artists. The Metropolitan St. Louis Sewer District has been a great a supporter of St. Louis Artworks because they commission rain barrels throughout the city.
I've
So
seen those. They're amazing.
they are amazing rain barrels. So they will, offer funding. We can purchase the rain barrels, and then we're able to sell those rain barrels because we also have an art sale. I have to mention that at the end of each one of the seasons, we have an art sale. So people can come in and actually purchase the art that the youth have produced throughout the season. But back to the rain barrel, the big 220-gallon steel rain barrel that sits in front of the Metropolitan St. Louis Sewer District's corporate office on Jefferson Market was designed by the youth in our program. Wow. So if you go there and they have a nice little seating area, they built up their entire garden around it. That's what feeds their garden. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to know.
So a company can come to you and you call it commissioning to put together some type of project, and then they will display it at their place of business.
Yes, we want companies to come to us and commission the work for St. Louis Artwork because it also gives us an opportunity to training with the youth because the company is the client. So they'll come in with a concept, with what it is they want, and then we have them to meet with the students to talk to them about what it is they want, and then the students create a concept of what it is. We bring the client back in to give feedback, say, I like it, I don't like it, move this, do that.
Yeah.
And then the students create the product, And so, it's a way for them, the students also to learn, and working with somebody. And also, as we work with artists really don't like to take corrective criticism, but it's a way in which they can learn corrective criticism
Absolutely.
as well.
I mean, I see it as paid marketing.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're paying you to market your product to the community.
Yes. Their product, and we have several pieces of art throughout the city. We have several pieces of art. If you go down to Laclede Landing, the Mary Meacher mural, that was created by the students.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
That's incredible. Yes. So with our audience, and we have people that I'm sure are thinking, well, how do we get a hold of them? How can we check them out? So how can someone get a hold of you?
We are on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, St. Louis Artworks, stlartworks.org. That's our website. And of course, they can come by. We would love to have visitors. We are at 5959 Delmar, which is right centrally located in St. Louis.
That's wonderful. Well, and I'm thinking too, because the audience is across the country, that there might be people that are thinking there needs to be something like that in their city.
Oh yes, they definitely need to be something like that in their city.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Are there other St. Louis Artworks
There are
models around the country?
Well, St. Louis Artworks was actually modeled after a program that was in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
So there were civic leaders as well as the mayor that went to Chicago and took a look at that program.
All right.
But there's also a Cincinnati Artworks as well.
We are going to pause now for a short break. We are Voices of Impact, and we will be right back. Thank you.
Nonprofit leaders, do you want expert insights to grow your impact? Subscribe today to the KBL Impact Partners YouTube channel. You will receive powerful fundraising strategies, leadership tips, and exclusive content from Voices of Impact, the show that spotlights changemakers just like you. Don't miss an episode. Get the tools, inspiration, and the expert advice to raise more and do more for your mission. Subscribe now at youtube.com/@KBL Impact Partners and start transforming your nonprofit today. Welcome back. We are Voices of Impact with our guest today, Jackie Dace with STL St. Louis Artworks.
So Jackie, I was looking at your website yesterday and I was taken by a statement, and I'm going to read it to you. It says, your primary goals are to strengthen your students' core skills in science, technology, engineering, art, and math, exposing them to a variety of careers. So I'm asking myself, how do you use art to expose students to these various careers?
One of the things that art does, and of course, is again using that creative mind, and it opens their mind in whatever it is that they're interested in. And we bring in those life skills, the trainers that come in and talk to the kids, giving them that opportunity to think about things that they otherwise would not have had an opportunity to endeavor. But you use art, and we can, with our art and technology, we can give the students a word and allow it to germinate within their brain for them to come back and create a concept of what this means to them. Now, is that necessarily them creating an artistic piece, or is that them thinking about beyond the art? Because we love to call it art and more.
Art and more.
Art and more.
Yeah.
Because, not only do we offer them the life skill trainings, one of the things I didn't mention is we also offer art therapy for the students. So if they're having an individual problem, or if we bring in the art therapist for group therapy. So we use art therapy also for them to open up their mind. And when we do expose them to different careers, they take that advantage. I have one student, one apprentice, who's turning 19 today. Today is her birthday, and she is aging out of the program. Right. This would be the last opportunity. But last year she received full scholarship at SIU Edwardsville in the School of Pharmacy.
Oh my goodness.
She's a magnificent artist. She uses art as her, she's created her own little company, so she does print work, screen designs, but her choice is pharmacy.
Yeah.
We've worked with the School of Pharmacy in St. Louis at St. Louis University, and they've brought their students to St. Louis Artworks at the end of the week in the summer, so that they can decompress. You use art as a way to, because they've been taught so much and so many details during the week, science and technology, but they need some kind of way to separate, some kind of way to decompress, so that that information can come. Open up your mind. Open up your mind. And that's what we're doing with the students. They're opening up their mind. They're thinking about things in a different way.
Yeah.
They are communicating with other people that can think about things in a different way. They're being taught by teaching artists to show them ways in which they can open their minds. And so, that's why I say when people think of art, they're thinking of the paint on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you think of a way in which you can, sit back, relax, and allow other thoughts to enter. It allows it. What do you do? What do you do to turn the page?
Yeah.
And so now they can use art. That canvas is an amazing tool. It's an amazing tool.
Yes. So do you offer that my mind is going crazy of thinking of, oh my goodness, companies.
Yes.
Could pay to come and have that same type of experience for their teams.
We've offered that for especially paint parties.
Yeah.
But we do paint parties and thought process at the same time. So we offer that as an opportunity for companies to come, even during the day, if you want to bring your board in to
like a
to do a retreat,
How
to have
creative.
an exercise.
Yeah.
We offer that as well.
I love
And everybody
that.
walks away with something.
And you walk away with a piece of your own art. Yes.
So do you have it open that people, I'm thinking, I want to come.
Yeah, well, we do it normally by company, but we've had several different paint parties that are not necessarily designed for that. But if there's a company that if they give me a particular idea or concept, we can try to create
And you'll
something
work
around.
with them to
we
create
a special
we
event.
create a special event for them. Yeah.
I love that, Jackie. So can you share, I love the story that you're just talking about with the young apprentice who today's her birthday and aging out and going on to pharmaceutical school. Do you have other stories that you can share with us?
Oh yes, we have 3 students that are right now. One is at WashU, one is at Yale, and one is at the University of Chicago. All have full scholarships. All are have been part of St. Louis Artworks for several years. And I mention all of these students because they do credit what they learned and the experiences they had at St. Louis Artworks in helping to advance them in their career. As I mentioned, we have a teaching artist that is one of the most committed teaching artists in our program that was an apprentice in the program, you know.
Wow.
I've hired assistant teaching artists that were apprentices in the program, site supervisors that were, people come back, they like the place, you know.
Yes.
They like the place, they consider it their place. They consider it their place. One of the greatest things is when I'm sitting in my office and the doorbell rings and it's somebody that was in the program, whether it was 10 years ago or 4 years ago, and they just want to come back and say hi and tell me what they're doing today, you know. And so
Wouldn't that make your heart
I was
sing?
just like, I have
it really
goosebumps.
does. It really does. It means we're doing something that is positive. It means that we're doing something that is
Absolutely.
positive.
Could
Yes.
you describe a typical student that goes through your program?
We don't have typical students. We really don't. We really
Okay.
don't, because we've had the football players. We've
Yeah.
had the basketball players.
Yeah.
We have the students that are otherwise, you know, can't make friends
Yeah.
in their own space. But yeah, so, and because we go from 14 to 19, you know, that those students are always different. They're very different. But we do serve students that otherwise don't have art programs in their classrooms,
Okay.
that are underserved, that come from, you know, communities that are not recognized
Right.
and their strength. And so that's the majority of the students that come through our program.
Are there certain St. Louis schools that you recruit from more heavily than others, or?
Only if we get a particular grant that we have to, you know,
okay.
select
Got it.
Ferguson, Florissant. We do, most of the youth in our program, we have roughly 50% from the city and 50% from the county.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're almost even at that now.
Yeah.
That's
which is
great.
a good thing.
So can you share with us one more time about how people can reach you, your website address?
Our website address is www.stoartworks.org. We are on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and if you want to email us, it's communications@stoartworks.org.
I love it.
And I'm assuming they can go online and see what the schedule is, when the next group will be starting?
Yes.
And is there sort of an online
Online application. They apply
and they can
online.
do that at any time?
They can do that at any time. Our online application for the summer program should hit the website in the middle of April.
Okay.
And yes, the kids can start applying now.
So how many do you generally have that apply?
Oh, you know, it depends on the season. So in the fall and spring, we'll have roughly around 80. We select, you know, 45, 50. In the summer, we can have upwards of 200. And oftentimes, you know, the number that we settle on is the number that we can afford to cover.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to pause for another break, and we are Voices of Impact, and we will be right back. Thank you. Welcome back to Voices of Impact, and our guest today is Jackie Dace.
Jackie, so with our current, you know, the times of what we're going through right now within our country, what are some of your biggest challenges? Do you see any challenges? Are you experiencing any?
Oh, yes. One of our biggest challenges, and it's consistent, is that we can receive grant funding for many of the programs, but they're dedicated to specific areas. But trying to find general operating support
Oh,
Yes.
is one of the biggest challenges,
Right.
you know, for getting funding that can help with our overhead costs.
Sure.
Right.
As well as even, you know, as executive director, many grants don't fund my salary. They may fund the program manager's
Right.
salary. So that has been a little bit hard. But then we also have had some funding sources that kind of don't know whether or not they're going to
What's gonna happen.
be able to release those funds. So yeah, and we're coming up again. We're celebrating our 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to, I'm trying to stabilize this organization so it can be around for 30 more years, because I believe it does such great work in the community, and it is such a great resource for the kids that I'd hate to see it, you know, falter and go
Sure.
away.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, so finding general operating support, getting corporate support,
Right.
that type of funding would be amazing, and
Yeah.
helping us to steady the course,
Well, I feel like that the work and you know, meeting with you, and I've been there myself and seeing the great work that you do is absolutely incredible. And I feel like you're just kind of like this hidden gem.
Yes.
That's here. You
Yes.
just need to get the word out.
And that's one of the things that even since I've been there, when I was interviewed by the board, I told them, I said, you know, St. Louis Artworks is one of the best kept secrets in St. Louis.
Yes.
I said, and it shouldn't be.
No.
And it
right.
shouldn't be,
No.
you know. So yeah, so trying to get the word out, trying to let I believe the same, Kathy. I believe that
Yeah.
if more people knew about it, more people would support it. I believe if
Absolutely.
more people knew that they would, you know, that if they could see the impact, because we work intensively with the kids in our program.
Yes.
It's not just a quick 2-hour program that they come in and they, you know, it's a flyby. This is intensive work that creates lifelong changes.
Right. Well, listening to you and the stories of the impact that you're having, and so really the work that you're doing and with the arts is really having. I mean, I see that as really that it's an economic mobility impact.
Yes.
Impact, and being able to have that return on investment back into the community, and it's very much a worthy organization to help to get other people to know more about it.
Let's get that boost
We
going.
are. We'll help you.
Let me sleep
We
at
will
night.
help you. That's right.
Which leads into my next question. You have a very lean staff, and
Yeah.
I'm sure you're wearing all different hats.
Yes.
You're the CEO, you're the chief fundraiser, you're the chief program person, you're the chief of all chiefs.
Yeah.
How do you take care of yourself?
Right.
That, you know,
What do you do to
Yeah.
rest and relax?
You know, I that's one of the reasons why I wanted to come home, is when I say come home from out of town.
Yeah.
Because I have family members here, and watching my nieces and nephews, great nieces and nephews now, grow up is a thrill
that's
to me.
great.
Yeah.
And being able to spend time with them, spend time with my friends, make those connections. In St. Louis, with all of its, you know, shortcomings, it has so many strengths.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It has so many strengths. So, and I can breathe here. I'm at home here, you
Yeah.
know. And so yeah, I take time. I learned over the years to listen to my body.
Yeah.
I learned over the years to
Good
listen
for
to my
you.
body. Yes.
And I know that I'm just thinking too, there's many people that are out there within the audience that are also running nonprofits, they're running small businesses, and it's a lot.
It is.
It's an
It is.
awful lot. And so it's great to hear that, you know, that you are taking care of yourself and having that self-care, which is so
Yes,
important.
I tell people all the time, if you don't listen to your body, if you don't shut it down, sometimes it will shut down.
Right.
You know, when you least expect it, when it's least convenient. So you have to shut yourself down.
Absolutely. Well, and going to St. Louis Artworks to do a paint party and coming to be able to relax, it would be a great way for people to de-stress.
It really is. It's a
Yeah.
great way, and you know, we talked about the team building exercises and programs that we can
Yes.
offer other organizations and institutions, and you know, just the way
Right.
to come together and laugh and have fun. It's we
Absolutely.
need as many places as that as possible. So as we're going into our 30th year. You know, we have a lot of programs that'll be coming up this year. Right now, we're in our 30 day 30 challenge, which we're asking people to donate $30 a day to St. Louis Artworks as a challenge. But we also will be premiering a 30th anniversary documentary of St. Louis Artworks
I
that
love
that
that.
the kids produce, and hopefully at the end of the year. And I say hopefully because we're still working on the dates for a gala for St. Louis Artworks.
You have to keep us posted
I
on
will
that.
definitely keep you posted. And I also want to mention we are also looking for board members. So I would
Okay.
love
I
for
was just
people
going to ask you that
Yes.
about, you know, what, you know, your board. And so
Yes.
you are looking for new board
We
members.
are looking
to
for new
add.
board members to St. Louis Artworks. So people
Okay.
can feel free to contact me at 314-899-9757. That's my direct number.
Can you share that again, please?
Sure, 314-899-9757, and that is my direct number.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So what other needs do you have at the moment? Do you need volunteers? What other needs do you have?
We would love to have some volunteers because, you know, we have a magnificent space that used to be a car dealership. And so again, when I have a small but mighty team, so all the cleaning has to be done by us.
Yeah.
Everything has to be
Yes.
done by the staff of St. Louis Artworks. So any volunteers would be helpful. We also, you know, could use support when we have our events because we like to always feed the kids when we bring them in, especially if we have the art sales or the events that we have. So if we can get restaurants, organizations
Sure.
that would offer,
Absolutely.
you know,
So I'm thinking of, Jackie, that anyone that is out there with in regard to a company, that your organization would be great for a company to take on and to sponsor, to get their employees engaged with volunteering.
Yes.
And then also to be able to provide, you know, the lunches for your youth. I mean, how cool would that be in the summertime?
Yes,
That,
yes.
you know, to have some different companies that can help to do that, and they also engage their employees.
And that would be wonderful. And we are working on a fensolation project where we would like for companies to support St. Louis Artworks, and then they could have their logo design on the fence around St. Louis Artworks, because we're right on Delmar.
Yes,
we get
you
a
are.
lot
You
of
get a lot of traffic there.
We get a lot of traffic, and so yeah, promote your company through promoting and supporting the youth.
I love this. Well, congratulations to celebrating 30 years
That's amazing.
for St. Louis Artworks this year. And for those of you who are the audience, you have to check out their website. Your website is
www.stoartworks.org.
.org, okay? And check out their website. Look for all the different events.
Yes.
And there's a 30-day challenge
Yes, it
going
is.
on right now, donating $30 a day for 30 days,
30
correct?
days, yes.
And other events that will be coming up. And also, if there's any youth that would like to apply for the apprenticeship programs,
The
they're
application.
The website.
The website, yep, through the website. Anything else you would like to add?
I thank you all for this opportunity
great.
and for getting, yes, it's always
been
wonderful
great.
to be with you too.
Well, it's a
Okay.
great meeting with you and having you on as our guest today, and hopefully to get the word out more
Yes.
about St. Louis Artworks and just the amazing, incredible work that you all are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do in our community.
And that's all the time we have for today. We want to thank our special guest, Jackie Dace, for sharing and the great work that St. Louis Artworks is doing
That's
in
right.
St. Louis. We are Voices of Impact, and we will see you on our next show. Thank you.